This is Sly.
What's up, everybody? Activ8.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Activ8 Radio. And we are here to activate your mind while we entertain and educate. And this show is brought to you by Reebok.
Be more human.
And hashtag the gym is everywhere. That's another one we've been using lately. So we're not gonna take any more time.
I like that.
We gotta get right in to John's homeboy right out the gate. Donald Trump has had some interesting things going on with what we like to call the Trump Minute. Johnny.
So our favorite character on this show, Mr. Trump himself, that's what his surrogates like to refer to him as. He was the topic of a New York Times cover story that chronicled his dealings over the past 20 to 30 years with his female business executives in the Trump organization. Now, a handful of executives came out, one in particular, or maybe two, and they talked about when they would be working. And these were high-level executives in the Trump organization. And remember, this is the New York Times doing a piece on Trump. The New York Times is typically more liberal-leaning, so this could be, for Hillary. But the piece ran like this. The female executives would say, if they put on a little weight, let's say they stopped exercising, let's say they were super focused on work, or they were pregnant. Mr. Trump had a habit of saying, "Oh, you're digging the Snickers bars more." Like multiple women talked about how he referenced their love of candy as like an incognito, like hint, hint, you're fat. Right? So like this, we have to understand what this is, right? First off, I don't want to sound like a chauvinist or anything, but like, I don't think that's the end of the world. But what we do have to remember here is what the purpose, most likely, of this is to do is to sway female voters towards Hillary Clinton. But if we stop and we give Trump just some credit for being purely epic and hilarious, and some would say crazy.
Yes.
It is funny, but it is kind of unfair to a woman, especially if she's pregnant, to, make fun of their weight. Because we all know if there's one thing you don't say to women, it's you look heavy.
About this. Yeah, or are you pregnant? And then they're not. That's like the worst ever, right? So my thing is one, Donald Trump, to my knowledge, is not even in shape. So, right?
Dude, he's like what we like to call, you're a paisan as well, a gavone, right? A gavone's just a kind of a pig.
I mean, so to me, it's like, one, that's the ultimate, like, confident chauvinist move whenever you're out of shape, like a big mob boss, and you're like, hey, eating too much candy? Like, I just feel like,
what are you doing, bro?
I think Hillary, though, if this is her play indirectly, it's smart because obviously woman power, she's going to want to have the women's vote. And the ultimate thing to get a woman turned off is if Trump is telling females they're fat at work. Jeez.
Yeah,
so that was planned. That was really good.
Yeah, and it's like this, when you talk about it, if that's Hillary's play, there's one thing, not to get too political here, that people talk about, and it's true. It's just like they refer to Hillary and Bill as the Clinton machine. And literally, like everything nowadays from here on out that's going to come out about Trump that is not flattering or positive is a product of the Clinton machine. They are in every crevice, in every zip code, in every county. They have tentacles everywhere, and they truly are a machine. So Donald Trump has his hands full, but Donald Trump is one guy who fights a different fight than most politicians. Most politicians draw the line, right? They don't call someone a liar. They don't, they don't take low blows. They don't talk about, let's say, a Monica Lewinsky. Trump does. So this race, everyone's saying, this is going to be the most interesting presidential race in the last 100 years. So buckle up. And like T.O. says, get your popcorn.
Hey, T.O., where's T.O. at? That's
Dude,
funny you bring him up. Is he working out in his driveway?
He's,
Is that what he's
bro, I hope he still owns a driveway. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Hey, when the reality TV show got canceled, I was a little nervous for my homie. But hey, speaking of sports, let's go to the NBA. So, speaking of the last 100 years, I think, I was really swaying that OKC I thought was coming out of the West. Golden State showed some, so, obviously they're still around. They won 70 whatever games. Maybe I'm leaning more towards Golden State, but either way, I think it's LeBron's year. And I didn't think that in the beginning of the year. And I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm starting to think that they might be, dare I say, unstoppable. Well, what do you think, John?
I mean, obviously, you've been a LeBron advocate. I have been not a LeBron advocate, but I will agree with you in the fact that Cleveland and Shumpert talked about it after the game 2 days ago, how LeBron really was destroying the guys physically. He was putting them through rigorous conditioning. And to me, if he's speaking about LeBron doing that, not the coach doing that, that tells me indirectly that, okay, this guy's finally taking a leadership role, right? He's pounding on his teammates saying, listen, we're going to war, so we better be in shape, we better be battle tested, and they're playing basketball better than anyone right now. That includes the Warriors. So I think we're leading into a great finals, and I do think Golden State will beat OKC. But you're right; they're playing fantastic.
I think this becomes, if it's built up the way we believe it is, this becomes that magic bird, that Steph Curry, LeBron. Like, I think it has that makings. If the next couple years it continues down this road. I mean, plain and simple, LeBron's been in the finals for like 8 years straight. Now he's won, you know what I mean?
He's gone to ready-made teams, which is my beef with him. And this is a ready-made team, so I struggle with giving him credit. But at the end of the day, there's been many phenomenal teams that have all-stars everywhere that don't win championships. You need cohesiveness to win a championship. So, yeah, you're right. He has been there. But Steph Curry and LeBron, I think, are going to be meeting head-to-head. You're right, for the next couple of years. Absolutely, without a doubt.
I think 4 to 5 years. So if I'm excited for, I look at it like this, we had Jordan and Bird and Magic and all these great people to look up to as kids. And I think there's been a quality amount of players for, my son's age. But when I think of a Steph Curry, LeBron kind of meeting two, then that starts to really write the narrative that could be very legendary. So I get excited for that as a sports fan.
I couldn't agree more. I think the NBA had a serious problem after the Jordan era all the way leading into the mid-2000s. I think there was a 10-year period there where the sport did not have its, let's say, star identity. But when you take into account, LeBron and Steph, who not only are amazing players, but they're good citizens, they're role models, and then you have that next wave of the Westbrook and the Durant and the Melo. These are legendary players, and they're all at the top of their game. And I think, I don't want to glaze over Toronto. Toronto obviously is going into Game 2 with the Cavs tonight, but they have a very young backcourt of DeRozan and Lowry that who knows how good these guys are going to get. But what I like is these players that we speak of are playing both sides of the ball. And in that 10-year lull, man, all you would see is ISO, right? One-on-one. And then you would see no D. And watch the game. Watch any of these playoffs games, and you're going to see intense defense. And that is when you're watching a great NBA game, when both sides of the ball are being played, I believe.
Yeah, I agree, Johnny. So everybody tune in to the playoffs. Definitely think it's making up some history-type basketball, which is cool. So look, tune into the political race. It's making history. Tune into the NBA playoffs. It's creating history. We live in a very unique time. There's a lot of cool stuff. It's fun to be alive right now with the internet, with the sports, with politics, with social media. We're in an age that's very unique to our history, I think, John.
And here's what I think you make a great point, Cory. And here's what's very interesting about it, right? Our policies and the way we've lived our lives. This country was founded on democracy, right? Well, you could argue that visibility in this country, whether it be being on TV or being on the radio, was something that was not democratic. You'd have to know somebody, or you'd have to have a connected person. Well, with the internet, with YouTube, like what we're doing right now with SoundCloud, anybody can go and kind of democratically become whoever they want in this country, because the internet gives us all a voice, and the people will elect you. They elect you by watching you, by following you, by liking you. So you're right. It's a very interesting time, and it's shifting. Things are changing to where YouTube channels are more valuable than some channels on cable TV.
Dude, think about this. We have an hour-long show twice a week. You know, we hope that people watch, subscribe, do whatever, but who'd we have to ask to do that? Who had to put us on?
And
Nobody.
I can tell you what, we've been climbing up to new levels.
Absolutely.
As we've been doing this. So democratically, we've been getting a lot of votes. So this is our race, and you know what? We're coming up, man. We're going for the Senate next.
We are going for the Senate. You're right. So let's go to the hot seat, Johnny. Hopefully AJ throws in some fire right there. So hey, the hot seat. 3 questions all over the board that we like to ask each other. We usually make them up like right on the spot.
Improv, baby.
Like improv. And so I'm going to throw it to you first, John.
Yes.
See the finger coming at you?
I see that finger.
What do you got?
You better back that up.
What do you got for me, John? What's 3 questions? What do you got?
Give me your 3 favorite rock bands. Number 1.
Oh, number 1, Led Zeppelin. Number 2, Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh, yeah.
Number 3, I would say Stone Temple Pilots.
Ooh, very good, very good.
I was a Nirvana fan, but I think Scott Weiland, there was something about him, that his voice I really enjoyed. Zeppelin to me was the first real rock band I ever listened to. Huge Zeppelin fan. I had a tie-dyed Led Zeppelin shirt. To this day, I would wear a tie-dyed Led Zeppelin shirt if it happened. Sorry about that. And I think that Rage is just for everybody loves Rage. It lifts weights. I don't see how you can't. So that's good. Is that one question?
If you're gonna bring up Rage around me, I gotta say something about him, because Rage makes you think, and the show and everything we do is about activating your mind. Everything they talk about makes you think. So again, if you have never listened to Rage, go listen to Rage. Cory likes them. I like them. I love them.
Absolutely.
Number 2, Cory. Mm-hmm. Would you call yourself a good dancer?
Oh, no question. No question. Listen, Fosco, I'm about to bring out a story for you.
If you're watching on YouTube.
All right, are you ready for this, John Fosco? I don't know if you are.
Give it.
In 5th grade, I won the dance contest at the local, I want to call Moose Lodge, because I'm from the country, right? The local Moose Lodge, they had a 15 years and under, whatever. I probably was 10 years old. Vanilla Ice was popular. I had boat shoes on. No one could run a running man like me.
Boat shoes?
Well, they're actually popular again now.
Yeah, they are. My brother wears them.
Penny loafers or whatever you want to call them. And I defended my title in 6th grade, John. I want you to know that. I went back in 6th grade. I think Vanilla Ice was not popular anymore. But yes, I kind of grew up being shaped by hip hop, by rap music. So dancing, and actually even when I did boxing, like everything rhythmic felt very normal to me for some reason. I honestly attribute it to my dad listening to doo-wop music growing up. My dad didn't really he was a very introverted person, so he wouldn't be dancing around the house. But he was always kind of grooving to the Platters or the Players or the Temptations and those type of things. So it's I think that molds you, man. That's why I love Al Green.
Okay.
Why we talked about James Brown. Those are things I grew up around. So
side note on that, how you said you think it molds you. I saw on what was it? It was in the New York Times how Beyonce does not allow her nanny to play music when her daughter is sleeping unless it is approved by Beyonce because of that exact reason. And it makes sense. Obviously, you got the Godfather in Jay-Z. You got a godmother in Beyonce. So, like, what you just said about, like, you know, listening to the Platters and James Brown, those people, yeah, like, it does get in you when you're young. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's why I make a point that my son knows who the Jackson 5 is.
Oh,
that we listen to that type of music still, not as much as I listen to probably inappropriate music for them at times. I try to use the clean versions, but it is, you know, there's definitely more of a hip hop type of household at my household, and we do like to, as epic as I don't like pop music, Flow Rida, and some of these things that are always hits. All the kids love those tunes, so that's what we end up dancing to.
Oh, yeah. Flow Rida is so whack.
Dude, he's a hit maker, though.
Yeah. You know, come into my house. Yeah, he's a hit maker, but he doesn't write his hits.
No, of course not. Last question.
Actually, before the last question, what I want you to do is I want you to tell the listeners what we're giving away and how we're giving it away on this show, because it's a pretty sweet giveaway for the family.
Listen. This is Fosco's. Listen. So we're going to give away some legit Reebok swag right now. And we're going to tell you how to do it. So first, let me tell you what the swag is. We're doing the Z Prints. The Z Print Run or Z Print Train, which I would deem the official shoe of Lunge and Learn. Those are the ones I lunge in, John Fosco. And then we're going to give some lifters away. These are my lifters from my bag, which are squat shoes.
Ooh, looking sweet.
Yeah. So these are the official shoes of the Squat Life program.
Hashtag
Squat every day, Squat Life. Been everywhere. Now, listen, these lifters are $170 a piece. The trains are probably $80. And then, lastly, John, signed copy.
What's
so
that?
Look,
that's got to be worth $5,000.
Yeah, at least $5,000, especially if I bring it to your house. I'm not giving it away. Sorry. Yeah, so we've got, at least a $250 giveaway. And so what we want you to do is John is going to play his new theme song that he's...
Wait, am I playing it now or later in the show?
Hold on. Okay, maybe we'll do it later in the show. If you continue to listen, when you hear the new song, which we're going to drop, you have to, listen to me, respond on our social media and tell us why you are... Wait, you got to listen to the song. Then you can answer. You'll understand. A little bit later in the show, right, John?
Right. And we'll preface it before we hit it later in the show. Okay.
So, great giveaway. You got to stay tuned. It's coming. Do you have one more question?
Yeah, one more, buddy. We got one more. Okay, listen. What music do you pose to when you do bodybuilding shows?
So let me we were talking about this off air, and John loves this. In the early Cory G days, when I competed in all these drug-free shows all around Ohio and some of the other states.
You still compete in drug-free shows?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I always compete in drug-free shows. I don't know why I said it that way. Because I'm lifetime drug-free, mofos.
Mofos in the hizzy.
Don't be hating. So anyway,
hater.
Going back to my roots of my dad listening to music he listened to. I always did they call it 1 minute posing routine, which you're obligated to do to music, which, if you're not really, you have to kind of choreograph it. It feels a little cheesy, but I always say Al Green, James Brown. So I start them off with Let's Stay Together. That was my wedding song actually too. It's all flow posing, trying to make it very classical. And then I drop in Sex Machine, John.
Oh, you got to.
I drop in Sex Machine and get the listen. I'm in Speedos.
Oh,
this is my stripper debut. So I figure, so I figure I'd give them what they came to see.
You better hope it ain't cold in that gym or wherever you're posing at, guy.
I'm sure there's a video of that somewhere that I could probably pull out. That would be hilarious.
Boy,
so that's it. So
epic.
my turn now, huh? My turn. So Fosco, what I've enjoyed by being your friend and now new business partner is your love for art that I wasn't aware of previously. On another hot seat, I asked you about your mom's favorite piece of art that you value and like. All the things that are behind you, all the different pieces of art / posters that you have, which one is your favorite that's actually in your house that's either on that wall or around?
Yeah, you, and this is, you guys, if you're listening on audio, you got to make your way to YouTube because I'm going to show a piece that you guys have never seen. in 5 seconds. Hang on
Go
one
ahead.
second. I'll show
Go
you.
grab it, Johnny. Also, that Reebok swag giveaway is about to be legit, so you guys got to make sure and listen here soon. It's going to be hot, especially with these lifters, the Z-print. I'm telling you, the Z-print trains, the Z-print runs are extremely comfortable too. So I think you guys will really enjoy this giveaway. Uh-oh, Johnny's back.
I'm back, and I have not unveiled it. Okay, want to know what this piece is? I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to tell you.
What do you got? What do you got? Ooh.
That right there is Edgar Allan Poe with a straight Glock in his hand, okay?
That sure is.
This is what we call gangster, okay? Edgar Allan Poe with a Glock, okay? You saw it here first. You gotta go to YouTube now.
That's sweet.
Isn't this nasty?
Who made that, John?
Gentleman who he actually won a Grammy for Best Album Art Cover. Same artist who did this one here. His name's Rob Jones. He's out of Austin, Texas. He does. He got his start with the White Stripes, which is one of my favorite bands. But yeah, Rob Jones.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm going to stay kind of in that line.
Okay.
So that's our cover. Number 2 would be, what is your favorite rock band? Because I know you like a lot of variety, but like if you could only buy one CD, John. Ooh, what? I even like that question even better.
Okay.
Only could buy one CD, which now we're really dating ourselves saying CD. What would it be?
Only buy one CD. I mean, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with Rage Against the Machine self-titled debut. With the burning. I mean, there's no name for it, right? It's got the burning guy on the cover.
The monk.
The burning monk. Correct.
Yeah.
I would have to go with that. I mean, I was about to say Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. I mean, it's just a top to bottom. But yeah, Rage is self-titled.
Nice. So you didn't bring some offshoot band I never heard of.
No,
man.
man.
You're good for.
Yeah, because Rage is part of me.
Yeah. Okay. One more music thing, because I know you totally dig it. What's the best concert you've ever been to?
The best concert I've ever been to.
Like the band just crushed it. You had a blast.
No, I've been to a lot. That's why I'm thinking.
I know.
I have to say, and this is probably because, this is how it played out, right? So Ben Kenny, who was on our show when Incubus played in Chicago about 2 years ago, he invited me out to the concert. The concert was at a place called Northerly Island, which is right across basically the lake from Soldier Field where the Bears play. So you're on like an island, and the stage backs up to the water. And Ben was like, we were backstage before Incubus went on, and he was like, hey man, why don't you just come watch the show from the stage? I'm like, what? He's like, just come on, I'll pull up a folding chair. Just sit on stage.
No big deal.
And I was like, what? And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the Chicago skyline. I'm looking at Incubus, which is one of my favorite bands. I absolutely love Incubus. And it was just an experience I'll never forget. It was amazing.
That's great, Johnny.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Well, I think those are really good hot seat questions for both of us. Solid.
I think you like that. I think you like that piece of art, Cory. If I could find one, I'm gonna have to send it to you. Yeah,
dude, I think it's ultra cool, and it fits you. Like it just.
Yes, if you walk in my living room, that's what you expect.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised. I think it's very cool, and I didn't know that about you at all until we became business partners. That you had this kind of love for art, I guess you could say. All right, so
put it this way: I got 90 pieces in my room stacked and covered that are yet to be framed.
That's crazy. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, it's time for Johnny's Inbox. So,
Johnny's Inbox.
Yeah, sounds more like G-Unit, but
Yeah,
whatever, Johnny.
well, that's the little tease, isn't it? So we're going in the inbox, and I'm going to hit you guys with two today. Two that one is very practical, and one is a follow-up. We're going to start with the follow-up. If you guys listened, I think it was 2 shows ago, we talked about a kid, not a kid, a man who found out his mother was addicted and to opioids, and the doctor overprescribed her, and he snatched them away from her, like kind of we talked about. But until that episode, we had never explained that you just can't take opioids or narcotic painkillers or any prescription drugs for that matter away from somebody without weaning them off it, right? And what I mean by weaning them off, I mean if they're taking 3 a day, you got to give them 2.5 for a week, then 2, then 1, and so on. So we explained to this gentleman on the air how to do that process, and when I responded to him, he explained to me that myself and Cory were 2 of his biggest idols, which I'm not saying that for an ego reason. I'm saying that because that's extremely
Humbling.
Yeah, it's extremely humbling. And he basically said he shared the message, the video message from the podcast with his mother, and he said that his mother was touched, and she is about this close, right? She has downed her dosage in a week by like 75%, and she's probably about 2 weeks away from being completely, off the prescriptions. And he, in his words, we were a big catalyst in motivating her to do so, and she was touched. So we thank
That's
him.
awesome.
Yeah, we thank him for sharing that with us, and that means a lot. And before we move on, I'm going to reiterate our 2 pillars of fighting the war on prescription drugs. The first one is get tougher, guys. If anyone's going to the dentist, I don't care what kind of procedure you're having done. The answer is no to Vicodin, to Percocet, to Oxycontin, to oxycodone, to hydrocodone. No. If your friends or family are taking them because of teeth issues, no. Tylenol, leave. The second one is normally we respect people's boundaries, okay, on this issue, because people don't understand that they're taking heroin in a bottle and because it's from their doctor, okay? We do not respect people's boundaries. What we do is we tell them we love them. We, if we can, get our hands on the narcotics and we take them. We consult with them and the doctor, and we find out how this particular individual or loved one should take the pills. Those are Activ8's 2 pillars that we're going to keep preaching, guys, because we're fighting a war, and there's many battles in a war, and this one's far from over. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the practical question in Johnny's inbox. And this dude is 18 years old, and he should be very, very, very happy. So he is, I'm going to read you the message. Hey, Johnny, I watch and love the podcast. I was wondering if you and Cory could give some insight on a financial question. I'm 18 years old, and I want to start saving money, thinking about my future. I have a good amount of money, and I've heard people saying put it in an investment account or something called a CDE, I believe. What is your thought on what would be most beneficial for the future and something I can keep saving and adding money to? Thank you. Before I answered that question, and before Cory and I answer the question, I felt it was necessary to get a little background information before we prescribed an answer. And I let him know that was great. And I said, one question: can you afford to put this money you refer to away and not draw off of it? Meaning, can you put it away and not live off of it? Do you have other income coming in? Or is this a sum of money that you will need to live off? And he said, Yes, John, I can afford to because I'm living with my parents through college and I'm starting a job in a couple of weeks after graduation. So, yes, I can afford to put it away. Okay. So, two things. One, he referred to a CDE as something that people were telling him to put his money in. What he's referring to is a CD, right, at your bank. And here's the problem. Andrew is his name. Andrew, a CD, because market interest rates are so low, which is good for borrowing, right? But it's not good for investing. A CD is probably going to get you 0.9% on your money. Okay, and for all those people out there, if you that's annually. So if you had $1,000 and you put it in a CD over the course of a year, your interest would be $90. Okay, nobody's interested in that kind of return.
Hell no.
Yeah, I would not advise it. Now, what I would advise, because Andrew, you say that you can put this money away and you do not need to live off it, I would say find a local wealth manager that either a family friend or somebody you trust has experience with, and put that money into a semi to medium conservative mutual fund. And Andrew, a mutual fund is basically a big bunch of stocks. Typically, it's about 50 different stocks. And when you're dealing with this money manager, you could say, or he could advise, I think we want to mix tech stocks with agriculture stocks. So we'll get involved in 2 mutual funds, and each fund will have about 50 different stocks. Now, the benefit of having 50 different stocks, Andrew, is you're diversified. So if one drops, the odds are one's going to go up. And that's the safest way to see a return. And typically, the normal return, barring a crash, on a mutual fund is 8 to 12% a year. And if you compare that to a CD at 0.9%, obviously you all can do the math. Core, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between a little bit more risk on your money. A CD is like, ultra set. One thing that I did a lot of research on was government bonds, meaning municipal bonds. And so that's one thing that I haven't done a lot of yet, but I've been pretty intrigued by. And at some points in history, they've been up to 10%, which is kind of crazy. Right now, I think they float between 3 and 5%. And that was something I learned from Robert Kiyosaki, something I learned about. But right now you can buy, and it depends on how much money this kid really has. But, if you're looking at creating residual income or putting that money back into another bond, you can go and buy a government bond for $10,000 that's giving you, 4.5%, 5%. That's tax free, by the way, too, which is kind of interesting. So there's that option. Or you go with the mutual fund that's really a long-term play at 8 to 12%. Most of them fall in that 8 to 9% range, and everybody's fine. That's pretty much everybody's play at this point. So I think either or. I think when you're 18 years old, I think you go the mutual fund route. I mean, if I'm sitting on a couple extra $1,000,000, I think that the municipal bond thing is cool because you can create your own salary just literally by tax-free money.
Let me ask you something on that, Cora. The one thing, and this is a opinion question more than anything. A lot of people, the reaction to government bonds now, and I'm not saying this is mine, this is just a general question, is that, well, our government holds almost 20 trillion in debt. The last place I'm going to invest is in the government. Now, we all know to a certain extent that debt number, it's not what you think it is. It's not like if you borrowed $19 trillion from somebody, you owe them. That's based on future stuff. It's based on all kinds of interests. It's based on stuff nobody could understand. But I guess what would you say to somebody who said, you know what, I'm scared of the debt?
Yeah. Well, and also I'll clarify that. I was talking about more municipality bonds, and that's your school district, your local municipality, not really from a federal level.
Okay.
So I always paid attention more to the town I live in has a bond. It's not open currently, or it might be now. Last time I looked, it wasn't. It was at 4.3%.
Okay.
And usually they're on 25 years, but a lot of times they call them after 10, and they just you have some type of the way it works is let's say you put the bond in, and it's at 4.5% interest, and you put 20 grand in. Well, it fluctuates as the interest rates fluctuate, like what it's worth, right? And so if you take it out on a down year, you're actually going to get less money. You take it out on an up year, I don't know, I can't remember exactly how they do it. So look, I'm not a financial guru, but I just know that's something I've been interested in because I love residual money. So at the end of the day, like I want to create something that's kicking over cash, especially tax-free cash for me. And these are things that I'll be investing in the future. I've always had a liking for them.
That makes sense. I like that. The one thing I forgot, and I can't believe I forgot it, and I would call this the mandatory investment, actually, is what's called a Roth IRA, Andrew. A Roth IRA, the government limits you. I know there's some variance, but it's anywhere from like $5,000 to $6,000 a year, right? You can, at a max, put $5,000 a year into a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA, once you take it out, is completely untaxable if you play by the rules. And the rules say that you can take it out, I believe, once you hit 55 years old. So understand this, guys. If you buy a stock, if you do anything in the market, if you have a mutual fund, your gains are taxed heavily under the capital gains tax. Typically, if it's short term, it's 40%. If it's long term, it's around 15%. A Roth IRA, here's a great statistic for you. If you pump in $5,000 a year based on regular market conditions, and when I say regular, I mean dips over time as well, $5,000 a year from the age of 21 to the age of 55. If you hit that 5G every year, the average return is $1.6 million. Okay? That's serious. And if you're earning $5,000 a year, is not that much money. So, Andrew, Roth IRA first, I would say. And then, like Cory and I kind of agree on, I think, the mutual fund route.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's some really good dialogue. And I'm sure there's some financial dudes I know that will pick apart what I said. So I'm going to say one more time, I'm not a financial planner. I just read a book about municipal bonds that I'm interested in.
Hey, man, yeah. Neither am I. We just try to do the best we can and what we have experience with. And from money, we got to go to fitness, because you got to have a strong mind, and you got to have a strong body, and you got to have a strong bank account. Cory, give us a strong body.
So, money and muscles have been my two favorite things for a long time. John Fosco too.
What about women?
Yeah, well, women too.
Or a woman.
Woman. Rachel doesn't listen to the podcast, so we're okay.
Be careful.
Yeah. But I will tell you, one thing I've been noticing still a lot around the gym community in general is, mostly the guys, and I've seen it with women too, that are very rounded from front to back, meaning that their front delt has overtaken their shoulder joint, and they have what's called bencher shoulder per se.
Yes, I'm so familiar.
Yeah, and everybody has done it at one point in time where their biceps, their front delts, and their chest dominate their workout programming. And a big reason why the way that I program and have for years, whether it's on bodybuilding.com or Cory G Fitness, or the website, whatever, is we always do back on Mondays and chest on Tuesdays, other than the rest of the population who always benches on Mondays, right?
Sure.
Or we do chest and back together, which how Arnold trained. He trained chest and back together 3 days a week. We usually do it 2 days a week because the supplements are a little different. Let's say that.
Just a little bit.
A little different. So it's one of the things that where what I like to say is that I like to go and expose the weakness first. And I don't care what anybody says. Their upper back, their rear delts is usually weaker than front delts, biceps, and chest, because that's the muscles everybody likes to train.
Sure.
So what I would do is I would challenge you, if you do not do my programming, one, you should, just because I'm an expert and it makes your life way easier. Actually, I'll make you way sorer and give you more gains if that's what you want. But two is that look at your programming and understand that you need to go after your weaknesses, which is almost every time the backside of your body. You want a bigger bench? Make your lats stronger. You want, your shoulders to look better? Well, what about your rear delt, not just your front delt? You want your physique to look more complete? You need your V taper there. So like I would say that your back is just as important or more important for an overall strength, physique, and look, and that a lot of people don't really take as much like pride in that per se, and you will develop shoulder problems over time if you are overdeveloped in the front. You'll get bicep tendonitis where you get, a huge knot right there in the front shoulder. You'll get just shoulders cracking like crazy. You'll have problems doing overhead
Right.
pressing. And so I really think that you can, if you just listen to this tip and train your rear delts, train your back, train your upper back. I train it first in the week. I train it multiple times a week. It'll really help you out.
Let me ask you something, Cory, because you do see a lot of guys with huge front delts, and they're not, the three heads are not equal.
Sure.
When I watch powerlifting, and I know you engage in a lot of powerlifting, I mean, is it safe to say that the form on the bench press is just disgusting?
Well,
that's how you get that, right? That you should arch your back. You should be flat with your legs in the air, ideally, to form your chest, right?
Well, but so you're kind of talking about two different verticals, really, because in
Okay.
powerlifting, the whole point of powerlifting is from point A to point B
Right,
with
get
the
it up.
shortest stroke. Well, shortest stroke, use the proper leverages, and like create the right leverages or angles so to support the iron. And so the arch is necessary. The elbow tuck is necessary. And actually, powerlifters are the ones that actually got it right. The bodybuilders are the ones that screw it up. Powerlifters usually train their upper back and upper back and lower back like 4 days a week. That's
Sure, but what I'm
from.
saying is the bench press. The way the power lifter does the bench press. If a guy's in a gym who's not, let's say, a crazy power lifter in powerlifting meets, and he thinks he can arch his back and he's going to develop, like, that's not
You're
ideal.
not develop. Well, no, I think a natural arch in your back is proper. I think it's
Really?
bar placement. Yeah, I think it's bar placement for sure. Because here's the thing is, unless, especially in a chest fly, if your chest is not arched properly, you can't even stretch your pecs properly.
Right.
So if it's the same, so to true pec development, I believe you have to have a natural arch. I think there's guys that have, like Zach's arch is crazy because his goals are just a lot of guys that are
Just get the
powerlifters
weight up.
don't have big chest, have big triceps because those are the main movers, right? So in bodybuilding, yes, I would say your arch is a little bit more calmed down, and powerlifting is going to be a lot higher. I think you need to know when and when not, depending on your goals, to have the big or smaller arch. I think it just changes, and mine changes for sure. Like when I get under a weight in a meet, I'm all about the arch. When I'm in the gym repping weights, my arch is not near as high.
Oh yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out for novices, because like I was told once, if you're pushing off the ground when you're benching with your legs, you're essentially cheating.
Lost you for a second, Fosco.
Okay, Cory, so what I was saying is I was instructed by a guy early on that said, if you put your feet on the ground when you're benching and you press up with your feet and you support it, you're actually cheating the development of your body. Is that true?
Well, that's more of a powerlifting technique. So in reality, most massive powerlifters don't really have that big of chest muscles. It's all delts and triceps for lockout because they're what's called shifting the weight from the bottom. That's the best way to actually move. So it depends on what your goal is.
Yeah,
So
my goal is not to be a power lifter. It's to shape my body.
Then most people in that case are going to have a little bit of a higher touch point with the bar. It's not going to be below their nipple. It's going to be above their nipple when they're touching the bench press. They're going to have a little bit, probably less rocking to the weight. It's going to be more of a stretch, more of a press. I mean, there's really like kind of two different ways to bench press. And I mean, I've done them both for years.
So do you recommend for someone whose goal is mine, which is develop my chest? I don't care about powerlifting. Develop my chest. Should I push off the ground with my legs when I bench or no?
I still think you should. I just don't think that you're going to have some crazy McDonald arch, as we used to call it, in the gym.
Okay.
And I believe that if your primary objective is to develop your chest, that you need to be doing barbell incline with barely touching the bar almost to your collarbone with a stretch.
That's what I like to do, brother.
Yeah, not 85-pound chest flies like you do.
I do that too.
I'm just kidding. So I think that that's kind of the nutrition. That's kind of the fitness tip is, really work on developing your rear delts, your upper back, and, kind of really identify what kind of bench press style you are doing.
Sure.
And now, Johnny, I believe it is money time, which is Johnny.
Or is it time to do the contest?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let's go over what we're going to win again.
Yes.
Z-Print trains.
Familia, look at this. Look what we do.
Some lifters
We
straight out of my bag. Some lifters.
His bizag.
And the mindset manual.
$5,000 value.
Yeah, right. 2 pairs of shoes and the mindset manual, which is about $250 value. So, John.
Yes, sir. Corey, what do they got to do?
So, you've got to, on a specific post that we're going to put on our Instagram at Activ8 Media, comment why you are on
I'm on a new level. I made a new show. Put these niggas in the dirt.
John, you're such a gangster rapper. You're such a
Okay.
gangster rapper. So, why are you on a new level? Now, that could be development. That could be your job. That could be the things that you're doing in your day-to-day. Whatever that, it could be your squat. Whatever it is, I want you to go on our Instagram and comment, hey, at Activ8 Media, this is why I'm on a new level.
Corey, what would you tell the people who listen on audio what they just missed when it came to my dance and their need to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and see that dance?
I would go to YouTube and subscribe to watch John, who asked me on the hot seat if I was a natural dancer. I did not ask him that same question.
Oh.
You guys can determine if that's true or false. All right.
Wow.
Now,
I feel like I'm on a new level. Oh, my God.
I can't wait to give those shoes away.
Yes,
John,
sir.
you're classic. All right, it's money time. We are going to tell you the 5 keys to getting investors for a new business. Let me say that one more time. The 5 keys to getting investors for a new business. Number 1, Johnny Fosco, know your vertical. Explain.
Know your vertical means understand your market. If you want to start making TVs, you better understand where Samsung makes their TVs, where Sony makes their TVs, where LG makes their TVs, what it costs for them to make their TVs, and how you're going to be lower than them retail-wise because they have this enormous name. And so how are you going to sell your product if you can't beat them on price because they can beat you on reputation? You got to know your vertical.
Love it. I think that part of owning a business is knowing the fucking business. So, I can't own a business if I don't understand it. One thing I will tell you is anytime I've tried to go outside my lane, I've struggled. And so I believe that if you stay in your lane, and I've done, I feel like, a really good job of this from when I was a young kid, because this is, fitness, and now it's turned into development because I've developed myself for 20 years. I'm in my lane. One time I tried to flip houses, it was epic failure. I suck at drywall. 2, I'm not a realtor. I was everybody was doing it, so I jumped in with
Passion.
Yeah, so that's it. So that's know your vertical, know your lane, and just crush it, right? That's important. All right, number 2, competitive landscape. Johnny.
Absolutely. So we just talked about TVs. We're going to stay there to give you guys a clear picture. So you have to know the players. So I just referred to being in the TV business, knowing LG, knowing Sony, knowing Samsung. Is there a Hitachi out there? Is there a Panasonic out there? You better know everybody. And if you know everybody, hopefully you can look at all those competitors and figure out why you should get in, because there should be something that they're not doing that invites you in and says to you in your gut, man, I got to get in because I can serve this need. So if you know your competitors, then you know how to attack your competitors.
And I'll take this to when I was getting ready to start Muscle Farm, I was a customer of my competitors. I knew what was lacking. That's why I was going to the Arnold Classic every year saying, hey, you need a guy that communicates with the customer. You need a 180 fitness guy that does a little bit of everything, that understands the formulas, that understands what the customer needs are, that can program. I knew what the competition was missing. And I also knew they were missing an athletes type of company at that given time. And so once again, the landscape over time changes, and it's changed again. And I know what everybody's missing, which we are going to meet that need with the new brand. And so it's one of those things, like, you have to be, I believe, a customer, understand the competitive landscape, and then fill the need is ultimately important. Number 3, what makes you different, which kind of spins a little bit off of what I just talked about.
Absolutely. So when we were just talking about knowing your competition and knowing exactly what they do, well, when you know exactly what they do, you also know exactly what they're not doing. And what they're not doing should be the reason you enter the marketplace to fill that void.
Yeah, I think that if you are coming to me for an investment and it is clear as day that your differentiator, did you see how easy I said that word, John Fosco?
Differentiator? Cory, is
Yes.
that what you meant? Okay.
Differentiator. Just differentiator.
Boom!
So if you could highlight that to such a level that I can't even get the money out of my pocket fast enough because I know it's going to work, I can feel that you know the vertical. I can feel that you understand the competition, and I know why your product, company, whatever it is, be different, that I would want to tell everybody I know to invest into it. That's where it has to be, in my opinion.
I agree, brother.
Number 4, ability to communicate the passion, John.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been an investor. Cory has been an investor. We've been around investors. We've taken money from investors. And more than crunching numbers on paper or telling a story that makes sense, the one thing that's always going to sell an investor more than anything is looking in the eye of the person who has the concept and really believing that that individual is a guy who's going to put in 20 hours and love it because he lives it. He breathes it. It's part of him. When me and Cory talk about passion, right? Like passion for fitness, passion for making deals. It's like it's part of us. If an investor can feel that, man, that checkbook's going to come out quick. You know what I'm saying?
And I will tell you, you can't fake it.
Right.
A real guy, and I like to qualify us as real guys, a real guy will read it a mile away if you're a fake motherfucker. I'm telling you, because somebody that tells me this is what they live and they breathe, and somebody that shows it to me, or I can feel it, and don't get it twisted. If you call me and I actually give you the time for something like this, or John gives you the time, I'm going to go look you up. I'll be able to tell. Like, you can't, undoubtedly, if you go to my page, you know what I'm about.
Right.
Because it's just me. It's my life. I'm just capturing my life. That's in my videos. It's in my Instagram posts. It's in my Twitter.
Cory, I don't want to stop you, but I have really something that's important to say. Guys,
go ahead.
You better mind your social media.
Yes.
If you think it's a joke, when you say stupid shit on there, you post stupid pictures like Cory said, if you're an investor, you're going to do your damn research. And if you're acting a fool on your social media, forget about it. Forget about it.
Dude, if you are a young 20-year-old dude that got chops and I go to your social media and I'm excited to do some research on you, and 9 out of the 10 pictures of you drunk with your friends, I'm probably canceling the meeting.
Oh, dude.
I like to drink beer on Saturdays. We'd like to have a good time, John. But like, if that's what you're posting, it's not about relevant stuff to what we're going to talk about. Like, it doesn't have to be all business, but like, you know, you definitely need to mind your social media and also like display what you believe that this passion is, or you're trying to tell a guy like John or I, because like we will pick up on it if it's fake.
Without a doubt.
Will. That's real.
Without a doubt.
Number 5.
Boom.
How do I get my money back? And how good is it for me? And how do you, I guess, strategize that from the business owner back to the investor, John?
Yeah, you have to know, walking into a meeting, and we've referenced Shark Tank before, but it's a very common, very popular U.S. show that everybody, I believe, can learn from to a certain extent. And if you're an investor, what are you doing? You're putting money out to get it back plus a significant amount. So your interest, your sole interest, you may think that this investor is as ecstatic about your product or service as you. He's not. The only reason he's meeting with you is because you might give him the ability to make some money. So his most important question is, okay, you want 100G? How's it coming back to me? Give me a timeline. Give me dollar amounts, because I'm going to hold you to them, right? And I'm not here to get my money back. Don't get it twisted. You better explain to me how I'm getting my money back times 2, times 3, and how this thing might blow up to be the next big thing. So you, as someone asking for money from an investor, you better have that prepared or don't even go in the meeting.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that you have to have, there's multiple different ways to strategize this, but you got to be on your game here. And look, everybody, and I'll tell you, everybody it's a risk. You're not guaranteeing anything. Now, that doesn't give you the ability to be lackluster in it. You're going to try your best. You got to know all these things we already spoke about, but it's investing because it's risky.
And
right,
one other thing I would say, and this, we talked about in an earlier episode, business plans to a certain extent are bullshit. Want to know what else are bullshit? And an investor really doesn't want to hear about unless you have it dialed in to data based on your competitors. It's projections. Projections are bullshit. So if you think you're going to walk in, look someone in the eye and say, well, my projection is da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm going to say, well, why is that your projection? And unless you have a damn good reason, you're going to get the hell out of the office.
Year 3, I'll do 9.6 million when you haven't even started the business yet.
Right.
Yeah, fucking right.
Yeah.
Year 3, Year 3, I did $20 million in Muscle Farm. There's no way I could have projected that. I'd have been lucky if in my mind, I would hope I would have been at $1 million.
Right.
You don't know. Right. Like, I was on the high side of things, but you couldn't look somebody knowingly in the face and say, I'm going to do $20 million in the next 36 months. Right. We're starting this new business. I can't tell you, John, I'm going to sell 1,000 or 100,000 bottles because you don't know.
Right. That's why you got to know that competitive landscape. You got to know the vertical. And you have to know what makes you different. Because if you're not different from the next company, if you're just another TV, with a black screen, you're just another TV with a black screen. No one's going to buy you.
Absolutely. So, John, we're going to wrap it up, but I got a couple house cleaning tips. Look, 5-star rating only on iTunes with a positive comment. That helps us climb the charts. Text your friend the link either to the podcast or YouTube. Make sure you go on Instagram tomorrow on probably our first post, John, for the giveaway. What do you think?
Cory, should I remind them what the song is?
Yeah.
I'm on a new level.
Tell us why you're on a new level on the first post tomorrow. Let us know why you're on a new level. And I think that this was a great episode, John. And I'm excited about all the things we got to come. We got, the new supplement line coming. Me and John and I are working on a new book together, which I believe will be fire, John.
Oh!
Yeah, so we've got, not to mention some monster clients that we're taking on. So we've got some great things going on at Activ8 Media and Activ8 Media Land right now.
You're damn right. And guys, get ready, because what we're putting together is basically, it's like Navy SEAL training for you guys who think you want to be an entrepreneur, because we're convinced you're probably a wantrepreneur. But if you can make it through this book that we're writing, you are an entrepreneur. So we'll find out, and so will you.
I think it's going to be great. So, John, wrap us up.
Guys, we've come to the end of the week. We've put in our work. The family's strong. The numbers are stronger. We're growing. This army is ready to attack, but we're not going to attack anybody. We're peaceful. We're peaceful, loving people. We're just trying to help people. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to give away some lifters, man. We're not trying to open.
You're so peaceful, John.
Yeah, even though I got a picture of dude with a Glock in his hand pointed at your face when you come in my living room. But at the end of the day, listen, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for putting in the hard work that we know the family puts in. Thank you for sharing with your friends on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Twitter, on Facebook, our podcast. We were named by Stack.com as the third podcast, the third come-up podcast, pretty much in the United States to watch out for. Okay, you can go to Stack.com and see it, right? It's like the number 1900 website in the United States, and they said you heard it here first. So
they
when we
predicted it.
Yeah, they called it, buddy. And that's all because of the family. So there's a lot to be thankful for, guys. There's a lot to be excited about. It's a Friday. Let's have fun. Let's be safe. Let's activate our minds. Let's just chill out and get ready to get back to work on Monday and hit it hard. You just listen to Activ8 Radio. We are Activ8 Media, and have a great, safe weekend. We're on a new level, and we're out.
Peace.